forget everything you think you know about cybercrime. Seriously, this isn't a story about some genius hacker finding a secret backdoor in a system. No, this is about a different kind of weapon, one that's way more unpredictable, and it's probably sitting in your office right now. We're talking about the human employee.
It almost always kicks off with a friendly, helpful voice on the other end of the line. You know the situation. You're busy, you're juggling a dozen things, and you've got some tech problem you just need to go away. And this person, they sound totally legit. They know your name, your department, maybe even the software you use. They'll say they need to fix some little configuration issue on your account, and they're just here to help.
And then your phone starts blowing up, nonstop. A relentless flood of multi-factor authentication, or MFA, push notifications. Each one pinging you, begging for your approval. The sheer volume, well, that's the real weapon. It's designed to wear you down, to create what's called security fatigue. You're exhausted, you're annoyed, you just want it to stop. So you tap approve on just one of them. And right there in that one single moment of human frustration, the game is over. And that is the absolute key to understanding this. They didn't break through a firewall. They exploited you with your credentials and your approval. They just walked right in the digital front door. So who is this new breed of cybercriminal, and how on earth do they operate? Look, we are not talking about some lone wolf in a hoodie here. We're talking about a highly organized, almost corporate collective. Law enforcement and security researchers have a name for them: the Scattered LapsusHunters. Yeah, it's a mouthful, but think of them less as a single gang and more like a federation of criminal enterprises. It's this powerful, twisted alliance that pulls together the skills of three really notorious groups: ScatteredSpider, LAPSUS, and Shiny Hunters. And this is what makes them so effective. Check out this structure. It's basically a criminal supply chain. ScatteredSpider, they're the specialists at getting that initial foot in the door, usually with the social engineering tricks we just talked about. Then, Shiny Hunters comes in to do the smash and grab, stealing all the valuable data. And finally, Lapsus Dollar acts as the loud public face of the operation, amplifying the breach and shaking down the victims for money. And this isn't just one isolated group. The FBI is warning that they're part of a much bigger underground scene called the COM. It's this whole cybercrime subculture, mostly teens and young adults, all sharing tools, collaborating, which makes this a growing systemic threat. Okay, so this brings us to their core strategy. It all revolves around one powerful idea. In our modern cloud-based world, the new security perimeter, it isn't your network firewall. It's you. It's your personal identity. This lays out their primary playbook perfectly. So after that initial call, they trick the employee into going to a malicious website. This move doesn't steal your password. Oh no, it generates something way more valuable: an OAuth token. You can think of this token as a long-lasting skeleton key. It gives their malicious apps direct access to your company's data, and here's the scary part: it completely bypasses any future MFA checks. And if just tricking someone doesn't work, well, they escalate. Big time. They deploy those MFA fatigue attacks. They actively try to bribe insiders, offering up to $25,000 for a single login cookie. And in the most disturbing cases, they resort to direct coercion, harassing and threatening security professionals and even their families. You know, this whole strategy just shines a massive spotlight on a critical weakness in how a lot of companies do multi-factor authentication. SMS codes, voice calls, even simple push notifications, they can all be socially engineered. The real answer is what we call phishing-resistant MFA. Things like hardware keys or on-device biometrics. They don't just verify it's you, they cryptographically verify you're on the right device and website, which makes them almost impossible to phish. But here's the thing. A successful attack like this doesn't just stop with one company. Because all of our cloud services are so interconnected, the damage can cascade down the entire software supply chain. So here's how that works. Instead of trying to attack a fortress like Salesforce directly, they go after one of its smaller, trusted partners. In a real-world case, it was a company called Gainsight. By breaking into Gainsight, they could then abuse the trusted connection it already had to all of its customers' Salesforce accounts. It's brilliant and terrifying. So what's the blast radius? It's enormous. By breaching just one trusted vendor, the attackers claimed they now had potential access to nearly 1,000 of that vendor's customers. Think about that. One key just opened 1,000 locks. And as Okta's deputy CISO points out here, this is the new frontier of risk. I mean,
Why spend months trying to find a tiny flaw in a huge platform when you can just piggyback on the built-in trust given to hundreds of smaller apps that plug into it? But this story doesn't end with the bad guys winning. These attacks don't happen in a vacuum, and they definitely don't go unanswered. A massive, coordinated international law enforcement effort has been working to shut these operations down. And you can see here, the walls have been closing in. We had key arrests in London back in 2022. More followed later that year. And more recently, the FBI teamed up with French police to seize the domain for the group's public data leak site, which was a major blow to their whole extortion racket. So how do you defend against an enemy that just logs in? The answer isn't a bigger wall or a better firewall. It's a completely new security philosophy called zero trust. In fact, after these attacks, the U.S. Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA, got its Cyber Safety Review Board together to figure out what went wrong and how to fix it. And their #1 recommendation, a move towards zero trust. So what is zero trust? It's actually pretty simple in concept. You trust nothing, and you verify everything, all the time. It gets rid of that old idea of a trusted internal network. Now every single request for access, no matter where it's coming from, has to be proven. It's like needing to swipe your security badge at every single door inside your office, not just at the front entrance. And CISA's recommendations here are crystal clear. They're calling for a move to a passwordless future, mandating that phishing-resistant MFA for everybody, employees, contractors, you name it. They're urging companies to adopt zero trust to stop attackers from spreading, and maybe most importantly, to operate under one simple assumption: the attacker is already inside. And that really brings us to the final thought. The playbook for cybercrime has changed. Attackers aren't just targeting machines anymore. They're targeting people, and they're targeting the very trust our systems are built on. So the question we all have to ask ourselves isn't just about technology. It's about strategy. If your personal identity is the new fortress, just how strong are your walls?